fragile falsetto and slurred or hiccuping style of delivery, reggae singer Wayne Jarrett is often compared to Horace Andy. Likeness, he acknowledges Horace Andy, his obvious main influence, though not entirely comfortable with it, and it's clear that he did manage to carve out a niche of his own with a compact yet highly regarded body of work. Wayne Jarrett was born February 28th, 1956 in Almontown, Kingston, Jamaica, as one of 7 children, raised in a Rastafarian household, the faith permeating much of his music. He was actually friends from his youth with Horace Andy. Horace, a few years older than him, already an established singer, but Wayne would hang around Horace, admire his singing and guitar playing. The two would chat about music and read comic books together. But Wayne had no awareness of his own talent for singing until it was noticed by a high school teacher who convinced a reluctant Wayne to join the school choir. However, by 1973, around the age of 17, Wayne relocated to Hartford, Connecticut in the United States with his family, in part because his mother wanted to remove him from the environment of the rough and sometimes dangerous Kingston streets. Once settled in America, Wayne got a part-time job, saved up a bit of money, and invested in a turntable, amp, and microphone, and began playing around with his voice, finding out that he sounded pretty good. He began performing live. There wasn't much of a reggae scene in Hartford at this time, but he would perform in rhythm and blues clubs, that kind of setting. And circa 1975, 1976, he would be taken down to New York City by a friend of his named Beltone, who owned a record shop that Wayne would buy his records from. Beltone knew a man down there, an expatriate Jamaican named Lloyd Bulwacky Barnes, who had founded his own studio and embarked on a series of recordings that would stand as cornerstones of reggae recorded in America. And it would be for Lloyd Barnes that Wayne Jarrett would record his very first song, a tune called African Woman, which originally came out around 1976 on a 7-inch single on the Versatile label. That record will cost you around $100 now, but it was included on a various artists compilation that came out in 1977 of Lloyd Barnes productions called Reggae Goodies Volume 1, originally on the City Line label, another one of Barnes's many labels, though his productions more generically referred to as Wackies. And that comp included Wayne Jarrett's very first record, African Woman, more affordable way to get it. This is a 2000s reissue from the Basic Replay label out of Germany. They also put it out as a CD paired up with Reggae Goodies Volume 2. This is my original copy from new, circa early 2000s. Wayne Jarrett's next move would be to return to Jamaica, start making the rounds of the scene over there, hoping to make some connections, maybe get a foothold in the reggae music business. He would hang out at the famed Idler's Rest on Chancery Lane, where the artists and musicians used to congregate. He would link up with DJ Joss Stitch and then with bass player Robbie Shakespeare, who put him in touch with producer Bunny Lee. Wayne began hanging around Bunny Lee's camp, traveling from studio to studio, moving with the artists and musicians, yet days after days went by, not much was happening. He was starting to get frustrated, feeling like he was wasting his time, and one day finally voiced his displeasure. It was then that Robbie Shakespeare spoke up for him and got him a chance at the microphone with a rhythm that had been recorded at Dynamic Studio with Robbie himself on bass and Santa Davis on drums. Yet in a twist of fate, Wayne wasn't quite ready. He had forgotten his book of lyrics where he wrote down his songs in, had to kind of improvise on the spur of the moment off the top of his head what he could remember of the words he had written down. You can hear that he's winging it a little bit in the song. Nonetheless, it was a brutal piece of tune that should have carried a warning label on it. In a way, it kind of did. They had to put the word dread in the title, steeped in late night atmosphere, heavy like lead. Wayne, still quite nervous singing in front of people, especially the artists and musicians he admired, but he voiced it in the voicing booth at King Tubby's studio, and he appreciated the relative privacy and isolation of that small voicing booth built in a converted bathroom. The tune was called Satta Dread, Wayne Jarrett's second song, perhaps his first hit. Appeared originally on Robbie Shakespeare's own Barbell label. Robbie, not yet paired up full-time with drummer Sly Dunbar, had his own label called Barbell, and then afterward it came out on Pete Weston's Micron label, some more recent reissue I happened to pick up not too long ago. However, Bunny Lee had been kind of disparaging about the song. I didn't think it was quite good enough to release, wanted Wayne to come back and voice it again. So Wayne was surprised a couple of days later when he heard the song played live in a dance where it went over well. There would be a dub version of Satta Dread that many years later would be released on a Blood and Fire compilation called Dub Gone Crazy in the late 1990s. Satta Dread dub appearing on there. And DJ Josh Stitch would also do a wicked DJ version called Conference at Waterhouse. It's a hard road to travel and a mighty long way to go as he journeys down to Waterhouse, to King Tubby's studio with jammies at the controls. That DJ version of Satta Dread is the very first song on a Pressure Sounds compilation called Every Mouth Must Be Fed, a compilation of Micron label releases. First song, Conference at Waterhouse by Josh Stitch, DJ cut to Satta Dread.
You will live to see. Yes, and if you do it for, you will surely go down.
Watch this. Said it's a hard road to travel, and a mighty long way to go.
Despite the relative success of Satta Dread, not much else came of the connection between Bunny Lee and Wayne Jarrett, though many years later, circa 2003, a couple of early Wayne Jarrett songs, apparently previously unreleased, for Bunny Lee would appear as part of the Attack Gold series of 10-inch singles. This isn't one, but I bought a couple of those around that time. The Attack Gold 10-inch singles, compiling some previously released Bunny Lee material from the 1970s, and 2 songs by Wayne Jarrett would appear as part of that series. One called Don't Blame I, another one, Live On Ja. In the meantime, Wayne would continue traveling back and forth between Kingston and America, trying to make some further connections, some inroads into the Kingston reggae music scene. He linked up with DJ Godfather U-Roy through following King Tubby's sound system. U-Roy provided an introduction to producer Tony Robinson, for whom Wayne would record a couple of songs for the TR Groove Master label, including one called Ja Children Shall Be Free, writing the I Shall Be Released rhythm track based on the Bob Dylan song of the same name. For producer Glenn Brown, Wayne would record a song called Youth Man. This was over a rhythm track, sometimes called the Green Bay Killing rhythm. It had earlier been voiced by a singer called Glenroy Richards, an acquaintance of Wayne's. I think he was a brother of a friend of his. Glenroy Richards had voiced a song over it called Wicked Can't Run Away, but he was one of several men slain at Green Bay in Jamaica in early January of 1978 as part of a government orchestrated plot to eliminate political rivals. The incident, sparking outrage across the island, became known as the Green Bay Massacre, and it would lead to the celebrated Peace Treaty of 1978 between the rival warring political gangs, and Wayne Jarrett's song Youth Man would be voiced over that same Green Bay Killing rhythm and be inspired by the events surrounding the Peace Treaty of 1978. That song would appear on Glenn Brown's Southeast Music label. Wayne, finding Glenn Brown one of the better producers he worked for, he felt respected as an artist by him, though their works together would not be extensive. However, it would take until 1981 for Wayne's debut LP to appear, and that would happen in the United States through the label run by Herman Papa Life Wright and Percy Chin, the Jaw Life label based in the United States, also Dub Irator, a related label. Wayne would begin recording for them circa late 1970s, early 1980s. They typically recorded the rhythm tracks in Jamaica at Channel One Studio with bands like the Roots Radix, which were emerging as the hot band of the moment, and the tracks would then be voiced by Wayne in the United States with label head Hyman Papa Life Wright engineering himself, giving it a hard mix down, fully in step with the emerging early dance hall sound of the 1980s. This would appear around 1981 as Wayne's very first LP, What's Wrong with the Youths, title track over the swing easy rhythm. Wayne striking a somewhat petulant pose there, and in full dance hall swing on the back. This would include a song called Rockers. Rockers today, you will love it tomorrow. Very prophetic words. He couldn't have known how much these songs would be loved in years to come. A dub of that tune, Rockers, would later surface on a Scientist dub album called The Dub Album They Didn't Want You to Hear. Would include What's Wrong with the Youths, Choice of My Own over the Choice of Colors rhythm. However, a highlight of the album was the very first track, the exultant Saturday Night Jamboree, capturing the excitement of being at a dance on a Saturday night, feeling the good vibes flowing. This would be Wayne Jarrett's first really big hit. Didn't do that well in the United States or even in Jamaica. It appeared in America on a 12-inch single on the Dub Irator label. This LP is a reissue from DKR Records from several years ago, the Dub Irator label there. However, in the UK, Saturday Night Jamboree was played extensively by David Rodigan and creating a buzz that caused the Greensleeves label to pick it up, issue it as a 12-inch single in the UK, where it did very well, became kind of a classic of that era, compiled on many various artists' compilations to come.
Saturday night jamboree, you should have seen I with I queen. I just saw Wackies come to the show. Judge alive internationally, and the A1 stop round town. It come to tear down the town, oh yeah. You should have seen the dreadlocks them up. You should have seen the ballad man just a rock, 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 rock.
Further non-album sides recorded by Wayne Jarrett in this period for Hyman Wright's Jaw Life label would later be collected on Satta Dread Showcase, released in 2025, early part of the year, by the DKR Records label, again out of Brooklyn, containing a second updated cut of Satta Dread here on the Jaw Life label. Containing 4 other songs as well, all followed by dubs, all done for the Jaw Life label. Showcase indicating that it's vocal followed by a dub, either in a seamless extended mix or separate tracks. Wayne Jarrett set belatedly appearing in 2025. However, the success of Saturday Night Jamboree, released as a 12-inch single by Greensleeves in the UK in 1980, led to the next move by Wayne Jarrett and his second album. That song's success caught the attention of top Kingston producer Henry Junjo Laws, seen here on the compilation Volcano Eruption, the Badman producer himself, Junjo Laws, who had been somewhat aloof to Wayne when they had met previously, and now Junjo was enthused to start working in earnest with Wayne Jarrett, began working on new recordings together, which would finally appear as the Chip In LP around 1982, Wayne's second album. The title track, a further hit for him, and again in a repeat of that scenario that had happened the first time he recorded Satta Dread. He had forgot his lyric books, had to kind of come up with something on the spot, somewhat loosely inspired by Cornell Campbell's Rope In. He came up with the idea of Chip In. The song, another hit, and it also included Saturday Night Jamboree again, and that would also appear internationally on the Greensleeves label, Wayne's second album. According to him, his favorite of the ones he had done. Most of the other ones he did, he felt recorded under somewhat hurried or rushed conditions due to the nature of the reggae music business, but a very strong LP produced by Henry Junjo Laws with the Roots Radix Band at Channel 1 Studio, mixed at King Tubby's by Scientist, fully in step with the sound of 1982, the early dance hall era, classic by Wayne Jarrett, and the title track actually is included on that Junjo Laws compilation, Volcano Eruption. Chip In by Wayne Jarrett right there.
rocking, love writing. Oh, come up a nice up a swing.
While these recordings for other producers were taking place, Wayne Jarrett was intermittently returning back to his very first producer, Lloyd Bullwacky Barnes, his studio down in the Bronx, and his expanding roster of artists and musicians known as Wackies, who were then entering into a very high caliber of production as the late 1970s turned into the 1980s. For Barnes, Jarrett would record more sides, including one called Come Let's Go, AU, and one song called Moses, telling the biblical story of Moses demanding that Pharaoh set the Israelites free, appearing on a scarce various artists compilation of Lloyd Barnes productions called Jah Children Invasion. However, in the early 1980s, Jarrett's next album would appear, a full-length set for the Wackies label. This would be a masterpiece, a cornerstone of American recorded reggae, and the Wackies label itself, one of several. If Wayne Jarrett's own personal favorite album is Chip In, many reggae fans will point you to the one he did with Wackies as the essential Wayne Jarrett and a key piece of the Wackies label, appearing around 1982, 1983 as Showcase Volume 1 in the United States, Wayne Jarrett's next album. And the Wackies label, again, this is from the Basic Replay reissue program out of Germany. Only 6 songs, again in showcase style, all seamlessly mixed into extended form with dubwise version. This would include Moses Again, which had been on the Jah Children Invasion compilation, but here had additional production embellishments and was retitled Brimstone and Fire. Wayne would also cover Horace Andy's own Every Tongue Shall Tell in a rendition standing very comfortably next to the original, while Bubble Up, another track which was somewhat of a lyrical update of one that had appeared on the Chip In album as Love in a Me Heart. That would provide an alternative title for the album when released in the UK, kind of what I tend to think of the album as. Bubble Up, my very first copy of it, Wackies CD, the Bubble Up album, otherwise known as Showcase Volume 1, which the Basic Replay reissue series reverted to. Only 6 tracks steeped in late night dread atmosphere, the denseness and crushing heaviness of the rhythm tracks balanced out by the lightness and airiness of Wayne's falsetto voice. It's very comparable to Horace Andy's album Dance Hall Style, also done for the Wackies label around the same time, and includes a couple of more romantic songs, Magic in the Air and Darling Your Eyes, which provide a bit of a reprieve from the heaviness, lighten the mood a bit, while remaining very cohesive and consistent with the sound and mood of the album, perfectly juxtaposing the lightness and frailty of Wayne's voice with some very heavy rhythm tracks, Rockford Rock drum song on here as Holy Mount Zion, Lloyd Barnes and his Wackies crew not coming to play on this album. Absolute masterclass in American recorded reggae. Wayne would also record a 10-inch single for the Wackies label around 1983 with some further tracks, You and I, Praise Jaja, even a cover of Lionel Richie's Truly. That would appear as a 10-inch single and would later be reissued by the Basic Replay label out of Germany, again as a 10-inch single. I don't have that one, but it would be paired up with a similar 10-inch single from Horace Andy and Nago Morris, combined CD version there, including the Wayne Jarrett tracks. Following these recordings, Wayne Jarrett's output would start to slow down a bit. An obscure album called Inner Circle would appear around 1984 on the Ashantyites label out of the US. I don't have that one, not too well known. However, he began to move away from music, had a family to support in America, needed steady income. Also, the sound probably starting to change. Not much was heard from Wayne for many years. However, in the 2000s, he did start to become intermittently active again, record and perform occasionally. I do believe he's still around, often unfairly dismissed as a Horace Andy imitator, but with a fairly strong body of work in his own right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Cheers and take care.